That same corner by the shed, that same hole, boiling water for the third time, a pile of dead bodies, 3 days of silence, and then they came back. No, they didn't just come back. The trail got wider. Biologists call this a threat response. A colony under pressure doesn't shrink, it divides. One nest becomes two, two become four. Standard methods don't destroy the anthill. They multiply it. And there is one more thing that almost no one talks about. A specific parameter that determines whether the poison will reach the queen or kill the carrier right at the bait. Most of those who tried this method and said, "It doesn't work," made a mistake right here. More on that in a moment. When you look at an ant trail, you see a problem. In reality, you are seeing its shadow. The ants bustling along the path, up the apple tree trunk, along the edge of the garden bed, are forager workers. Their only function, find food, return, pass it on. In a medium-sized colony, they make up less than half of the entire population. In a large one, even less. They are expendable. The colony sacrifices them without hesitation, without slowing down, without any reaction that could be called a sense of loss. Underground, the picture is completely different. The real anthill is not that little mound you see above the surface. The mound is just a pile of dirt with entrance shafts. The city itself goes down. According to entomological studies, colonies of popular garden species, black ants, wood ants, mason ants, build working chambers at a depth of 40 to 70 centimeters. Some species go deeper. Down there is a branching network of corridors with clear specialization. Separate chambers for larvae of different ages, granaries with supplies, ventilation shafts regulating temperature and humidity. And in the most protected place, in the deepest chamber, furthest from the surface, the queen's quarters. The queen is not just the main ant. She is the reproductive engine of the entire system. Her only function is to produce new individuals. Some species lay up to 1,000 eggs a day. A worker lives for a few weeks or months, depending on the season. The queen of some species can live up to 30 years. Here is the math you need to understand once and for all. You attack a trail, you kill 200 ants. The queen laid 800 eggs that same day. In 3 weeks, workers will hatch from them. You haven't eliminated anything. You created an illusion of victory while the colony replenished its supplies in the dark beneath your feet. Kill 100,000. In 2 weeks, there will be just as many. This is not a metaphor. It's simply biology. That's why boiling water doesn't work. Hot water kills everything it manages to reach near the surface in the first 10 to 15 centimeters. The queen sits at a depth of 50 to 70 centimeters. The water cools down and dissipates long before reaching there. That's why contact poison from a spray doesn't work. It kills what it hits, the workers on the outside. That's why vinegar and other folk repellents don't work as eradication. They might shift the trail. Temporarily, after a week, the trail comes back. The soil acts as a perfect filter. No substance poured into the holes will reach the queen in an effective concentration. The tunnel structure is built so that liquid dissipates long before reaching the required depth. The queen is physically inaccessible from the outside, but she is accessible from the inside through their own feeding system. Ants have 2 stomachs, one regular, individual one for themselves. The second is a social crop. It's a separate organ designed exclusively for transporting and passing food to other individuals. When a forager finds a food source, she stores a portion in the social crop and returns to the nest. There, she passes the contents through direct mouth-to-mouth contact to other workers, who pass it to others, until the food spreads throughout the entire colony in a mouth-to-mouth chain, from individual to individual, all the way to the larvae and the queen. This process is called trophallaxis. It's not just a method of feeding, it's simultaneously a communication system, a resource distribution mechanism, and a tool for social bonding. Through trophallaxis, pheromones, information about food sources, and chemical threat signals are passed along. The colony functions as a single organism precisely because it has this internal circulation. No worker makes decisions independently. Everything flows through the network. Information, food, alarms. It is a distributed brain without a center, which nevertheless operates with the precision of military logistics. And it is exactly this circulation that will become its weak point. If we want to destroy a colony, We don't need to dig up the ground and look for the queen. We need to exploit their logistics network. We need the poison to enter the colony through the main entrance via a forager and pass through the trophallaxis chain all the way to the lowest point, to the queen. But the poison must be slow, very slow. That's why standard, fast-acting poisons fail even when placed correctly. An ant takes the poison bait. If the poison works in 10 to 15 minutes, she will die at the bait or on the way back. Other workers will find the corpse. This is a clear chemical signal. It's dangerous here. The spot gets marked with an alarm pheromone. The trail bypasses it with a wide berth. An hour later, no one remembers the bait. Or rather, they remember, but only to stay away. The attack failed, quietly without explanation. We need 24 to 48 hours. During this time, the forager must find the bait, take a portion into her social crop, return to the nest, pass the contents through the chain, and only then die. A slow death is not a weakness of the poison. It is its main functional property, boric acid. Not because it's the strongest, but because it works exactly the way we need it to. Upon entering the insect's digestive system, boric acid disrupts metabolic processes, the ability to absorb nutrients and energy production. The ant weakens gradually, not immediately. She remains functional for another day or two. She keeps moving, keeps performing tasks, keeps participating in trophallaxis, and only then dies of exhaustion. There is one more property that makes boric acid unique in this context. Ants do not build up a resistance to it. To neurotoxins, synthetic pyrethroids, and organophosphates, insects develop resistance over time. This happens within a few generations. Boric acid acts mechanically on their physiology. You cannot develop resistance to something that disrupts basic metabolism. It can be used repeatedly. The effect will not weaken, but there is one parameter on which everything depends: concentration. This is exactly what was mentioned at the beginning. This is where most people who tried this method and failed made a mistake. Too high a concentration, the ant will die at the bait or on the way back. Others will find the corpse. The trail will bypass the spot, the end. Too low, the poison will spread through the trophallaxis chain, reach the queen, but in a non-lethal dose. She will weaken for a moment, then bounce back. The effective concentration for a protein bait is about 1%. This isn't a round number for convenience. It's the range in which boric acid kills slowly enough for the carrier to play the role of a courier, and effectively enough so that the dose reaching the queen is lethal. Now, why egg yolk and not sugar is a fundamental issue, not a matter of taste. Sweet baits work on forager workers. Carbohydrates are their energy for movement. They take sweets actively, quickly, and in large quantities. But inside the colony, sweet food is distributed across the upper levels among workers who need quick energy on the go. The queen lives in the lower chambers. Her needs are different. The queen lays eggs continuously. Thousands of eggs are a massive metabolic burden. Every egg requires protein, amino acids, and building material. The queen cannot maintain such a reproductive pace on carbohydrates. She needs a constant supply of protein-rich food, and the colony has a clear instinctive protocol for protein. When a worker finds protein food, meat, egg, and insect, priority mode kicks in. This is for the queen and the larvae. Protein doesn't settle on the upper levels. It goes down. Workers break the source down into microparticles and transport them to the deepest chambers, where the brood and the queen reside. Without delay, without redistribution, a sweet bait with boric acid poisons the worker. A protein bait goes straight to the queen. This is not a theoretical difference. It's the difference between striking the rank and file and striking the command center. The recipe: 1 raw egg yolk, half a teaspoon of boric acid powder. Pour the powder onto the yolk. Mix slowly, do not whip. You need a uniform mass without dry lumps and without separate acid crystals on the surface. If you see grains, mix longer. A boric acid crystal that goes directly into an ant's mouth provides a concentration above the norm. The ant will sense that something is wrong. She will drop it and walk away. Once the mass is uniform, form pea-sized balls. Smaller is better. A large piece looks like a threat. A small one looks like accidental loot. That is exactly how the forager should perceive it. Place the finished balls on a piece of cardboard or in a jar lid, not directly on the ground. The soil would quickly dry out the yolk and the smell would disappear. A base retains moisture and scent. One lid, a few balls. The station is ready. Now about placement, because a good bait in the wrong place is just trash on the ground. First, reconnaissance. Walk around your yard when the ants are most active. Not at high noon in the heat. In the heat, they go deeper. In the morning or evening, when the temperature is comfortable. Observe not individual ants, but the stream. Where the stream is dense and directed, that's a main trail. This is where their logistics live. Look for trails along straight lines, edges, fence bases, paving joints, borders of garden beds. Ants use architectural landmarks to coordinate movement. A long, straight edge is a marked highway for them. Take a piece of paper, draw a diagram, mark where the trail is thicker, where it's thinner. This is your pre-operation map. 2 minutes of observation saves a week of ineffective attempts. Now, where to place it? Not at the nest entrance, never. The sudden appearance of anything near the nest, a smell, an object, a vibration, triggers an alarm protocol. The entrances close. The queen goes deeper. Larvae are moved to further chambers. The colony goes into lockdown mode and waits it out. Your poison will stay outside. The wait will be long. The right place is 2 to 3 meters from the entrance, on an active trail in a shaded spot. There, foragers work in normal mode. They are relaxed. An unexpected find in such a place is perceived as a stroke of luck, not a trap. Place the base with the ball next to the trail, not on it, right to the side. An ant should discover it accidentally while exploring the edge. If you place it directly on the trail, they will bypass it. A side placement is correct. Set up several points, not one, 4 or 5 on different routes. Here is why this is important. If the poison comes from a single source, the colony might eventually localize the threat and shut down one route. If it comes from 4 different directions simultaneously, the colony has no spatial response. The threat is everywhere. Shutting everything down is impossible. Striking several logistics routes at once is not an exaggeration. It is the foundation of the strategy. Now about what happens inside, about what you won't see, but what will be happening. Day 1. From the outside, nothing. Activity on the trails won't change. The balls might be dismantled. That's good. It means the couriers are working. The poison is on its way. Day 2, day 3, the first signs. Not corpses, but behavior. Individual ants slow down, lose track of the route, stop mid-trail for no apparent reason. They spin in place, ignoring the pheromones of others. This is no accident. It's a metabolic disruption that has reached the central chambers. The colony's neurochemistry is unbalanced. Trophallaxis has distributed the poison throughout the entire network. If you see such disoriented ants, it means the queen has already received her portion. Day 4 to 7, the trail thins out, slowly at first, then quickly. The stream that was dense becomes fragmented. Individual ants instead of organized movement. Then silence. Do not remove the baits. This is the most common mistake. People see an empty trail. They think it's all over. They take away the bases. 2 weeks later, the ants return to the same spots, in almost the same numbers. Here is what happened deep inside the nest. At the moment of your attack, there were eggs and pupae. They were in isolated chambers. The poison did not reach them through trophallaxis. Larvae and pupae do not participate in the food circulation. They waited, and after 3 or 4 weeks, a new generation of workers hatched from them. Young, hungry, without pheromone training from those that died. They don't know the bait is dangerous. To them, it's simply a discovered protein source. They need the same encounter with the bait as their predecessors. Keep fresh balls on the trails for 4 to 6 weeks. Check every few days. If the balls have dried out or disappeared, replace them. Only by breaking all reproductive cycles will you shut down the colony for good. There is one more thing worth understanding. Even if you destroy the colony entirely, a month or 2 later, a new one might appear in the same place. Not the same one, a different one from a neighboring territory. Because resources that attract ants remain in your yard. Aphids. Aphids secrete honeydew, concentrated sugar. For ants, this is a stable source of carbohydrates. They follow it, Guard it from predators. As long as there are aphids on your plants, your yard remains an attractive territory for any new colony looking for resources. That's why, even after successfully eliminating one anthill, it's worth observing your plants for a while. If the aphids stay, the ants will find a reason to return. This isn't about a method for fighting aphids. It's simply a fact that explains why patience with baits must go hand in hand with observing your plants. One final observation. In garden stores, there are pretty sprays and packages with bold print saying destroys the nest. They sell well. People buy them again after a month or two because they work poorly, but they work fast. A quick, visible effect sells better than a slow, solid one. This isn't a conspiracy theory. It's just consumer market economics. The manufacturer makes money on repeat purchases. A product that solves the problem once and for all is not interesting to them. Boric acid costs pennies. It is sold in pharmacies. One bottle lasts for several seasons. An egg yolk from the fridge, a cardboard base from a box. No equipment, no special conditions. The difference between someone who has been fighting ants for years and can't get results and someone who has solved these issues once and for all does not lie in the amount of money spent. It lies in understanding one fact. The surface is not the problem. The queen is the problem, and she can only be reached through her own kitchen, through trophallaxis, through the best for the queen instinct, through a single egg yolk with the right concentration of powder. Everything else is just mowing the lawn. If this story has changed the way you look at life in your garden, subscribe to our channel and like this video. We uncover the secrets of nature that they tried to hide from us. Take care of your land and build the future. More treasures of knowledge will be revealed soon.